Hey, good day, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today on this Saturday. I want to appreciate the fact that everybody has a million and one things they could be doing at this point in time, and you have decided to join us here. My name is Michael Boyo, founder here at MB Consult, a platform where we empower your every next step regarding your career advancements. This is one of my commitments to the community that I'll be coming out here on a fortnightly basis, to talk about what I believe are pertinent issues. Let's engage, let's collaborate, let's discuss, and we can all learn from each other. I come with, a wealth of experience, but at the same time, I'm open to learning from everyone who is on the call. Now, today, the topic that we have before us is, again, trying to drive home the true essence of mentorship. Mentorship unleashed, turbocharge your career, unlocking potential through guidance and support. Without much ado, let's just, get into it straight away. Um, so when we talk about mentorship, right, today we're going to explore, how mentorship can enhance your professional journey and guide you to success in today's competitive job market. This is me, just very quickly for those that may not know me or have not met me. I have background in computer science and engineering. I have a postgrad in internet systems development. I've lived, schooled, and worked in 3 continents across the globe. I consider myself a multidisciplinary IT specialist with domain specializations in project management, business analysis, and software quality assurance, all at enterprise level. I also consider myself an AI enthusiast, who is not these days, right? I come with over 2.5 decades of post-qualification cognitive work experience. My tech stack is there. You can read for yourself. These are certifications, snapshots of what I have so far. Again, you saw that background. I'm a co-founder and managing partner at RYD Learning, which is an edtech online platform for kids age 7 to 16. And recently, I also co-founded MB Consult, a professional mentorship and coaching platform. So that's just a little about me. Now, what are we doing here today, right? Defining mentorship and its role in career development. Now, this is something that you would always keep hearing me talking about because that's the whole essence of MB Consult: mentorship, coaching, career advancement. How can we get from where we are to where we want to be? Right. So let me just quickly ask again, just to kind of refresh our minds. When you hear the word mentorship, what does it mean to you? And its role in career development, what does it mean to you? Anybody, unmute yourself and speak. Quickly, quickly. I'm going to go off video now. Anyone? Anyone? Don't be shy. So I'm talking about mentorship in relation to career development. When you hear that, what does it mean to you? There's no right or wrong answer. So don't be worried as if someone is going to laugh at you. No one is going to do that. I don't want to start calling names.
Yeah, I think it's someone you can run to for guidance to guide you on your path as a professional, so that at least whatever the person has done, or somebody that have idea of what you're doing or is vast, that can guide you so that you will not make mistakes on your path to your success. That is what I would say. Thank you.
Great. And thank you, Daniel. So 2 words I want to take away from what you just said. You said someone that will guide you. Now, the proverbial saying that says the blind leading the blind, right? So if anybody is to guide you, can we assume that that person knows the way, right? That's what we are saying. So, like, people would always say, follow who sabi road, right? So you don't want to follow someone who has not walked that path before. That's where the mentor comes in. Just like you said, someone who is vast, someone who has either done what you're trying to do or has experience in doing what you're trying to do, right? That's what we mean by mentorship. Okay, let's just dive into it. Mentorship relationship. So what kind of relationship do you want to have with your mentor, right? Like you rightly said, and that's why I like the word guide. You use the word guidance. It's very, very key. A mentor is supposed to provide guidance to a less experienced person. Now, by implication, what does that mean? The mentor better be experienced. And that's why when I introduce myself and I say, oh, I'm a mentor and a career coach, And then the next line, I'm telling you, I come with over 2.5 decades of cognitive post-qualification work experience. I'm legitimizing my claim. So I'm telling you, I'm not a rookie. I've been around for a while. So most likely I've traveled the road you are trying to travel. And that's why I can say that I qualify to be a mentor or a coach, right? So I'm not like doing try and error. No, most likely what you're trying to do, either I've done it before or I've seen it done before, or I know ways to get it done half the time it took me when I was doing it. You remember what they say about if you stand upon the shoulders of giants, you will see what giants see. That's what we're saying. You don't necessarily need to have everything that they have, but because they're able, so they leapfrog you. That's what a mentor does, right? So mentorship is a relationship where an experienced individual provides guidance to a less experienced one, right? Again, what's the impact of a mentor on your career? Because there's no need for you following a mentor if there's no impact. And what do we mean by impact? Impact is different from output, like I do say. Impact is a deliberate or an intentional attempt to obtain a desired outcome. So what's outcome? Outcome, output is just whatever goes. You shoot the ball goes. But did the ball hit the net or did it go over the bar? Outcome is that it can go either ways. But impact is that when any footballer is playing a penalty kick, what is the desired outcome? Is to score the goal. That's the impact, right? So a mentor should significantly enhance your career growth. If you have a relationship with a mentor and you're not getting value, it may not be the problem of either of you, either the mentor or the mentee. It may just mean that the relationship is not working, right? Because I don't want to throw anybody under the bus, be it the mentor or the mentee, since I don't have the details, right? But if that relationship is not culminating in career growth, say, for example, by offering tailored insights and supporting you through your own professional journey, then that relationship is not in any way impactful nor fruitful. Your mentor should also be able at some point when that relationship is growing and is becoming fruitful, provide personalized guidance, right? And that's why you want to choose a mentor that is kind of aligned with your own career as well. Now, the mentor doesn't have to be necessarily an expert in everything, but that mentor better know very well the path that you want to go through. That's why the person is a mentor, right? Okay, so we want to ensure that the mentor is providing personalized advice, just like what Daniel said. It's able to advise you, it's able to guide you, it's able to help you map out your career GPS, catering to your unique needs and goals. That's what the mentor relationship should be all about. Now, what are the benefits of mentorship in today's job market? So everything we're talking about today, don't forget the last session, I came out here and we talked about the job market, how tough it is right now, the challenges, what can we do, what should we not be doing, what should we be doing more of, what should we be doing less of? And we talked about those challenges, that the job market right now is a global phenomenon. What we are seeing is not just within wherever we are, be it Africa, North America, Asia, Europe, wherever you are. There's a global socioeconomic downturn that is adversely impacting the ratio of jobs to job seekers. That ratio is currently at an alarming rate, which is tantamount to unemployment rate on a global scale. And I was here last time to say that in the US right now, as of February this year, the unemployment rate was 4.1%. And it was like that was a breath of fresh air. And it's been alluded to the current administration. Again, I'm apolitical, so I don't have any, whether this is good or bad, it's none of my business. But what we are saying is that the unemployment rate from the report coming out of the US in February 2025 said it was at 4.1%. Canada is sitting at 6.6% unemployment rate right now. So, but this is coming out of a global socioeconomic downturn that is impacting on everybody across the globe. The ratio of job seekers to the jobs available is at an all-time high. So when people come to me and say, hey, Michael Boyo, I've been applying for jobs, I'm not getting interview calls, I'm not nobody, or I go to an interview, I don't hear back, or like Ofonime said at the beginning, that the recruiters just ghost me. It's not you. I mean, if you've been around with all the sessions we have been doing, there are things that are on you, right? But the mere fact that what we're experiencing within the last 6 months or thereabout is not just literally about you, it's something that is affecting everybody on a global scale. So, but where does the role of a mentor now come to help or come to play in all of these things? Okay, let's see. A mentor is that person that helps you with a personalized career strategy and clarity. One of the things that I realize in my working with a lot of mentees is that people don't even have clarity in what exactly they want to do. And it's not because they are stupid or because they are not intelligent. No, not at all. So many of us, especially for those of us in the West, be it in Europe, North America, wherever you are, we come out here, and I want to believe that all of us have had some sort of working experience from wherever we are coming from. But because where we are coming from is way much more different, things are done differently, we come out here and you begin to realize that you do not have the direct skills that are required for the job that is available out here. So not that you don't have skills, but they are not direct skills. And then that's when we now start, falling back on what we call transferable skills. But transferable skills is one thing. The skills required for the job is another thing. And then that becomes a gap. And then you now start realizing, oh, we now need to bridge the gap. And then that's when people start using the kind of phrases like, oh, I need to pivot to tech, or I need to transition to tech. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the question is, are you going to do it by yourself, by what you know? And which most likely is going to be a lot, but you might still be missing critical things that you need to know in this new environment that you have found yourself. The way things are done. Some of us are coming from an environment where we are used to putting up curriculum vitae. But you now come into an environment where curriculum vitae is no longer applicable. You need to be using a resume. Those are two different approaches, right? You're coming into an environment that is not just hinged on how many certifications or postgraduate qualifications that you have, but is grossly hinged on being able to complement that with hands-on experience, expertise, knowledge, technical know-how of the things that you have done, not of the things that somebody is credentialing you for that you passed an exam, right? So it's totally different. And that's where the mentor or coach comes in. So role of the mentor. The mentor plays a crucial role in helping shaping your career strategy, providing guidance tailored to your own personal goals. Now, I can come out here and talk at a general level because I don't know your individual situation. But for me to be able to now say, I want to mentor you on a personal level, then that means that we need to have some sort of a contractual agreement that I'm going to be your mentor and you are going to be the mentee, whether paid or unpaid. Then it shouldn't be happening by accident. No. And I've said it out here. Don't say I'm your mentor if both of us are not aligned on that statement. No. I'm just somebody you listen to, and that's okay. Right? So for me to say I'm your mentor, I need to know what you are doing. I need to know what you've done, and I need to know what you are planning to do. And then I can advise accordingly. That's the relationship. It needs to be deliberate. It needs to be intentional so that I can also measure progress. That's what mentorship is all about, right? Now, setting clear objectives. I think one of the things that most of us coming from third world country that we are not used to is to be held accountable. It's not something we are used to. It's not that we are bad people, but we are not just used to. We are all used to just doing your own thing, believing that your own thing is the best way to do it. And somebody once told me, what you know, what you don't know is greater than you. You can't use yesterday's methods of solving problems to solve today's problem. No, it's not going to work. Yesterday's problem needed yesterday's solution approach. That solution approach of yesterday most likely is not going to be good enough to solve today's problem. So you need to know someone who knows more than you and has the capability to be able to help you solve today's problem, right? That's where mentorship is all about. Navigating career paths. A lot of people come to me and say, hey, Michael Boyo, I was a banker back in Africa, and I love banking. In fact, people will come and say, I've been in banking for 10 years. I've worked in almost every department of the bank, Forex, operation, customer service, what have you. And they're like, they come in here, haven't gone through the whole scrutiny of, skilled migration and all of that. They come in here and they just feel like, oh, I'm going to get a banking job. Most likely they were even a branch manager back at home. And they're expecting that they would be a branch manager here. And I tell them, I say, you know what? If you put your resume out there right now, at best, what you're going to get is a customer service officer in a bank here in North America. And some of them are so disappointed. And I said, it's not my fault. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm saying at face value, it's not going to count that you worked in those multiple departments back at home. And it's not about you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just the way of doing things. The way banking is done back at home is way different from the way banking is done here. Banking is done here in such a form that most likely you don't even need to enter a banking hall to do over 95% of your day-to-day banking operation. Whereas back at home, I don't even think you can get a lot done without going to the bank. It's just different, right? So you don't need a lot of people in the banking hall as officers, employees. No, you don't. What are they doing? Because nobody is even going in anyways. So it's just so different. And then you now realize that, oh, you need to do a skills gaps analysis and then try to understand what are the skills required to get that same similar job that you were doing back at home. There's nothing wrong with your skill set, but that skills gap needs to be done for you to be able to adequately transition into that similar role in the country where you found yourself, right? And this is something a mentor should be able to help you with, because that mentor, hopefully, like we said, is experienced, has walked the path, most likely has been in that country for a while, knows how things work, and should be able to provide you with that guidance. That's what we're saying. What about emotional and motivational support to overcome job search frustration? I don't know. Is anybody wanting to share a story here, how you've been frustrated looking for work? So let's become practical. Is job search actually frustrating, or is it a piece of cake, a walk in the park? Is anybody willing to share? This is a safe space, by the way.
Yeah, I think job searching, like people will say, is a job on its own, and it's kind of draining in terms of energy and the time you have to put in.
Interesting. Thank you for that. So, like you said, people say that looking for work is a full-time work in itself, right? And I tell people, I say, so what do you do then? And I say, throughout that whole job search process, all the way to job offer, the only piece that you have control over, literally, as the job seeker, is the job application. That's the only piece that you truly have control over. So if you are not able to master that piece, you are as good as when they use the term dead on arrival. You're as good as that, because that's the only piece of the puzzle that you actually have control over. So you want to figure out how are you going to then master that piece. The challenge of job search, just like Ofonime said, job search can feel overwhelming, leading to frustration, self-doubt. I hear that a lot. Self-doubt. You get to a point you start second-guessing your capability. You start second-guessing your ability, second-guessing your skill sets. Again, I'm here to tell you it's not just about you. And I say that very respectfully. I'm not cutting you any slack. I'm not saying stop applying. I'm not saying, oh, don't apply anymore. But I'm just saying it's not necessarily about you. But the question is, what's your strategy? I said it once, I think on the last session. I said, what kind of jobs do you apply for? And I said it here for free. I don't apply for any job that is more than 24 hours since it was posted on LinkedIn. I don't. That's me. I'm not saying you should do that. But what does that mean? That means that I only apply for jobs that are very hot. Again, what does that mean? I want to be within the first 100 people that apply for that job. Again, what does that mean? That means that I should be able to pick up a job description, and within an hour or two, I should be able to turn it around, make a resume fit for purpose, and apply for that job. And somebody asked me, Mike, how do you do that? It takes me 3 to 4 days to tweak my resume to apply for a job. And I said, then you need to come and book a mentor at MB Consult, because that's not the way we do it. Right? And I told everybody here, I said, give me any JD that has to do with my domain areas of expertise. I can apply for that job in 45 minutes with a resume that is fit for purpose. And if you ask me why, how, again, like I said, come book a mentor at MB Consult. We'll teach you how. Because that's a problem. If it's taking you 3 to 4 days to be able to apply for a job. Now, what's the role of the mentor? Yes, I hear a lot of people come to me and I say, oh, how many job applications do you make in a week? And they quote whatever number they quote. Can go from small, medium to high. If it's small, please do better. Because like I do say very jokingly, except if the company is owned by one of your parents, there's no guarantee you're going to get that job. So you better cast your net upon the waters and apply as crazy as you can. And that's why you need to, at the end of the day, have that magic formula of how you can literally apply to a job within 1 to 2 hours after you see that job description, so that you can apply for as many jobs as possible on a daily basis. Because again, that is the piece of the puzzle that you have control over. Building resilience. This is where your mentor comes in. Your mentor should be your cheerleader. So yes, I do apply every day. Mike, I'm not getting response. I'm not getting feedback. Oh, I get this one response. This person, contacted me. We had a chat and she said she will contact me again. She ghosted me. I get it. What about the other one? And even when people now start that interview process, which is the hard part, I tell them, don't just stop everything else. You know why? If all you are focusing on is that one job application, when that job application doesn't pan out, then the impact of that is going to be high. Even while you are in first stage, second stage, whatever, continue to apply. The job isn't yours until you get a job offer. So there's nothing like, oh, let me just focus on this one. No. Focus on all of them. Right? So that even if the email is coming back to say that, oh, sorry, it's just one of those emails. And that's okay. Because you're already busy on so many other applications. Right? And hopefully something will pan out. Now, let's look at insider insights on navigating the recruitment challenges. Now, I've had the rare privilege of being on both sides of the divide. So I've been a job seeker and I've been on the recruiter side. When I say recruiter side, that's in HR, receiving the applications, being part of the hiring process. It's a rare privilege. And I've said it here a number of times that I've had instances where a job was posted by the organization I was working for, and I was the named candidate for that job. As in, I was the one being poised to be employed for that job. But yet, it was posted on job boards. Candidates were applying. I was the one collecting the applications of the candidates that were applying. Think about that for a minute. And I felt so bad for the candidates that were applying. And even at the end of the day, I didn't take that job. But that was the process. And another named candidate in the organization was hired. Now, if you were the job seeker, what would you think? You would think, oh, maybe I wasn't good enough. Maybe my resume wasn't well tailored enough. Well, you can think 1,000,001 things. And that's why I'm saying that it's not just about you. You can still do all the right things, and yet that application does not come true. And that's why I'm saying that don't beat yourself too much, because you don't know everything. But what you need to do is to do things right. So in the first place, was your resume good enough? If all conditions are perfect, ceteris paribus, all things being equal, would your resume have made it to the top of the pile? Is your resume fit for purpose? Again, I do say here, the job description is God. You bend to the job description, not the other way around. You adapt your resume to the job description, not the other way around. You don't pick and choose what you like in a job description. No. Even if the job description was poorly done, which can be the case in a number of scenarios. Lazy hiring managers will tell that HR generalist that just finished a CPHR diploma from one college. Somebody who has no HR background, but is in HR. And the hiring manager says we need to hire a developer, a Java developer. What do you think that HR generalist in HR is going to do? She's just going to go either on ChatGPT or go on Google, online, LinkedIn, wherever, and get a JD for a software developer. Does she know the terminologies in that JD? Most likely no. And then that's the JD that you are going to be seeing on LinkedIn. And you're going to be like, oh my goodness, why do they need all these skills? But you know what? That's as a result of a lazy hiring manager. And then you now get called for the interview. Why? Only because your resume was fit for purpose. I tell people, one of the last steps I do when I want to submit a job application is to check if there's any keyword in the JD is not on my resume. Now, I'm not saying do that in an unintellectual way. You also need to be able to exemplify expertise for that particular skill set. But if it's not there, you should have a very good explanation. So if they say, oh, let me see. If they say that, for example, they need you to have a particular certification, and they say it's a must-have, and you don't have it. Now, there's nothing wrong with you not applying. As in, there's nothing wrong with you applying, but it just means that you have not fulfilled the mandatory requirements for that role. And again, you don't bend the JD. You adapt to the JD. There could be a skill set. If that skill set is not in your resume, you're already falling short. You know why? Your resume is either going to be vetted by a human or by a software application called the ATS, Application Tracking System. If it's by a human, there's room for human error. We're all human. They may not realize that, oh, by the way, you didn't actually put that skill set. But if it's going to be done by an ATS, you can be damn sure that the ATS is going to catch it. The ATS will have been programmed in such a way to look out for those specific keywords. So if you are coming out with a score of maybe less than 6/10 in terms of keyword adaptability, then your resume is not even going to make the first cut. And I'm sorry. At that point in time, it doesn't matter what you know or what you do not know. So these are just tips of what your mentor, your coach, like the seasoned ones we have at MB Consult, will be able to walk you through and help you as you make those job applications. I tell people, if you are making job applications and over a long period of time, you are not even getting calls at all, then something is fundamentally wrong. Now, it doesn't mean that every call you get is going to lead to a job offer. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that if you're not even getting a call at all, then something is fundamentally wrong. And there could be a lot of reasons, whether you're applying to the jobs that you're actually not qualified for, or you are applying with resumes that are not fit for that job description. It could be a number of reasons. And these are the things that, a mentor can sit down with you and work out with you. Effective recruitment process. Mentors have been around for a while. They understand that landscape. There are even questions that I ask recruiters ab initio, and I want to know whether you are even a recruiter of repute. I want to know. So when a recruiter calls me up and says, oh, Mike, by the way, I have this job that I think you are a good fit for. And I ask you a question as such as this. Do you know the hiring manager? That question is coming from nowhere, right? It's like, what do you mean? It's a question. I asked you, do you know the hiring manager? I want to know whether you yourself, are you a legitimate recruiter or not? And they can answer me whatever they do. Some of them will just tell you, oh, no, I don't. And I'm like, so how did you get the job? How can you be hiring for a job that you don't know who owns the job? That's a big no-no for me. So I'm not even going to go with you. And then you can answer me and say, oh, yes, I know the hiring manager. I met with him yesterday, or I met with her yesterday. Oh, good. How long have you been in relationship with that hiring manager? Have you ever placed anyone with that hiring manager? You see the kind of questions I'm asking. I remembered when I came to Canada newly, when I miss a call from a recruiter, you know what I do? When I call back, I'm like, oh, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, ma. My name is Michael. Sorry, I'm so sorry I missed your call. I don't do that anymore. You know why? The recruiter is as good as you. You are both applying. The recruiter needs to onboard you to that role for the recruiter most likely to get compensated. So the recruiter is as desperate as you are. Again, how would you know this if you are not talking to someone who is seasoned, who understands the system, like I'm talking to you right now? You are getting this for free because I know. Right? How do you navigate challenges? Excuse me. A mentor is the one that's able to tell you some things that you're not going to see on the surface. Again, there was a recent trend on LinkedIn, and we were chatting about it in the WhatsApp group during the week, that LinkedIn's credibility is being questioned. How legitimate is the job that I'm applying to? And there are things you can look out for when you see a job description that can, for somebody like me, there are jobs I wouldn't apply for. And I can tell you why. But let me ask it here. What are the things you look out for when you look at a job description on a job board? Let's talk. What do you look out for to legitimize that job description? I want to hear from you. Or you just believe every job is legitimate and you just keep applying, right? Anyone? Interesting. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Okay, I look out for a whole lot of things, right? Number one, the first thing I look at is when was the job posted?
When, right?
Yes, because if it is
Okay.
like 1 week ago, I will not really want to because 1,000 people have already jumped in. I will
Okay.
not. That is me. You understand? Then two, I'll
Mhm.
look at the skills. I look at the requirements. Do I have all those things? If I don't have them, can I get them even before the call or something? So those are the things I personally will be looking out for, and I also look out for the maybe experience in terms of the period, maybe 10 years and all that. So the year required. So that's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Daniel. I appreciate that. I will come back to you. Does anyone else want to chime in before I say something? Anyone else? What do you look out for in a job description as you apply? Hello, let's make this interactive, guys. There's no right or wrong. Because after now, everybody will start telling me, I apply. Now I'm asking you, what do you do? What do you look out for? I don't think anybody said I'll be telling you they don't apply for work, right? So what do you look out for when you're looking at a JD? Stephanie, putting you on the spot now. What do you look out for?
The first thing is how long ago was it posted?
Mm-hmm.
And I know that on LinkedIn, when it says how many people have applied is usually how many people have clicked on that
Apply
button.
button. Thank you for saying that.
Right. And I look at the job description because I noticed that sometimes companies just put out a laundry list of job descriptions and they just throw a lot of things in there. I typically don't apply on LinkedIn. I try to go to the company page, because if they don't have an external link for me to go on their page and actually see the job description and other jobs that they have on their website. Yeah, I'm probably one of the few people that doesn't see the what is it called, in apply or something that is on LinkedIn.
Easy
I don't
apply. Easy apply.
Excuse me, I don't really take advantage of that because I've tried that and I've not really seen results from that. So I always go to the company page to apply if they allow us to. Or I go to Google and find the company and see if that job is listed on there. And I also try to see if it is posted by the company itself or a third party, like a recruiting company. When it's recruiters, because I've had a situation where I was about to go in an interview, in like 5-10 minutes, and I was about to put my phone on do not disturb when a call came in. I don't know, it was on do not disturb, but a call still came in, and I answered it and said, "Hey, I'm about to go on an interview," and it was a recruiter saying, "We are trying to get you to apply for a so and so job," and it was the same job I was about to go interview for. So these recruiting companies, it can be a bit iffy with them because, as you say, they are very desperate and shopping around for people just the same way you are looking around for a job. So yeah, and with the job descriptions, what I also do is I try to look at it line by line, because sometimes the way it is worded might be different. It will be worded differently, of course, than you have on your resume. So I read it and then try to find something on my resume that matches that. Have I done this? Is worded differently, but have I done this? Or I can use ChatGPT to do that and say, based on this description and looking at my resume, which I will post for ChatGPT to see, it said, do I have something that matches this or closely to it? And another thing I've learned is that the you don't have to match every single thing on the job description. You can, I don't know what percentage it is now, but I know that if you have at least 70-80% of it, you should be good to go. Yeah, that's it for me.
Wow. And so, Stephanie, you just wanted us to miss out on all of the great things you just said. That's not fair. So, anyways, thank you so much. So, I will reiterate some of the things you said. So just for people to know, so LinkedIn right now will tell you over 100 people have applied. So once over 100 people have applied, LinkedIn is not going to give you the number, except you have LinkedIn Premium. I had come out here some time ago to show us what LinkedIn Premium would show you. It will actually show you how many people have applied. Now, I use the word applied, but that's actually not the case. It is just how many people have clicked the apply button, not necessarily because they went ahead to actually apply for the role. But I do tell people why I would go with that number, and I say that I want to be in on the first 100, is because that job most likely is also posted on other job boards. And I'm also trying to factor in applicants that would have applied from what they saw on those job boards. So I literally just take LinkedIn's number as gospel truth. And I've said it here some time ago that there's a job that I know in a particular organization. That job has been circling over LinkedIn for like the past 4 years, and I kid you not. And when I checked on LinkedIn Premium, it was almost hitting 1,000 applicants. Now, don't forget, LinkedIn is just an app. LinkedIn is not going to the organization to ask them, is this job still open or not? No, LinkedIn is not doing that. That's not LinkedIn's job. So, and anything could be the reason why that job continues to circle on the internet, right? Now, coming back to a few things that Stephanie had said, the easy apply button is just LinkedIn's attempt to enable people to be able to apply for jobs seamlessly. It's like do it yourself, easy way to do it. You have a resume on LinkedIn already uploaded, easy apply, boom, you apply. Which means LinkedIn is just a bridge between the job applicant and the employer organization. However, like Stephanie said, you want to do your due diligence. So there's a difference between easy apply and apply. Again, go and check LinkedIn. This is not a LinkedIn optimization class, right? Now, on apply, most likely that button will take you to the company's website. But easy apply is just for you to apply. LinkedIn is the one taking responsibility to apply on your behalf. Now, you can either apply with your LinkedIn profile or you can apply by uploading a resume. There's nothing wrong with both options. I just choose to say that I will rarely apply for any job using my LinkedIn profile. You know why? Because more often than not, my LinkedIn profile is a snapshot. I don't go every day updating my LinkedIn profile to fit the job description I'm applying for. But I'm going to tailor my resume to fit the job that I am applying for. So I'll rather apply with my resume. Does that make sense? Can I get a thumbs up? If you want clarity, raise up your hand and let me know. Does that make sense? I don't apply for jobs using my LinkedIn profile because you can, right? Okay. Now, having said that, Stephanie also mentioned that you want to go check on the company's website whether that job is actually valid. That's also good to do, right? Because there are many times, and I've said it again a number of times here, that why do you keep seeing a job circling on LinkedIn? At times it will say reposted. At times it will have been there for 3 weeks, 2 months, 3 months. It is basically because the recruiter who posted the job on LinkedIn. I hope we all know that there are different user personas on LinkedIn. You are using LinkedIn as a job applicant. A recruiter is using LinkedIn as a recruiter. So they have their own portal where they go and post jobs. And I'm sure that job will have a start date and an end date. So if the recruiter doesn't go back in to end date that job, you might actually be applying for a job that someone has been hired into months ago. That's another lazy recruiter. Again, I've been on both sides, right? So that's why you want to know. Again, you want to look out. Does the job have an expiration date? When a job doesn't have an expiration date, for me, it's a red flag. That doesn't mean it's not legit. I'm not saying I cherry pick. As in, I want to do my due diligence on the job that I want to apply for because I don't want to waste my time, right? And Stephanie said a lot of other beautiful things. You want to go to the company website and apply from the company website. Hopefully that job is actually listed on the company website. Because most likely, somebody is managing the company website and the HR department are the one posting jobs on the company website. And I guess they will take more responsibility to do that than go and, monitor what's happening on LinkedIn, right? So it's just one hop closer to the employer when you apply on the company website. So there are so many other things. There will be some skill set that will be very specific. Perhaps a particular application that is only being used by that organization. If that is being called out specifically, ability to use XYZ, and XYZ doesn't sound very common. It's not Microsoft, it's not Oracle, it's not SAP, it's not ADP, it's not Salesforce, it's not Monday.com, it's not whatever that is known, as part of industry best practices. Then again, most likely there's a named candidate behind that job. Now, should you not apply for it? I'm just saying that job for me starts losing credibility, right? So there are so many things, and these are just the iceberg. If you were working with somebody like me, and I have mentees that would say, hey, Oga Mike, I want to apply for this role. I say, send me your JD, send me the JD, send me your resume. When I look at the JD, I can tell you whether you need to apply or not. Though my rule of thumb will say apply, but I will tell you, I don't think it's worth your time applying for this job. Okay, let's keep going. And feel free to ask questions as we go along. How mentorship bridges the gap. Very good. I'm sure I will have said a few things. Personalized feedback. So mentors offer tailored advice on resume writing. I can't tell you enough how many resumes I've seen. I've worked with mentees, take their resume from when you come to me with whatever resume you come with. That's what I call your V0 resume. That's version 0. That's where we start from. That's ground, what we call ground zero, we call it baseline, whatever, and we start working, right? And we can work on 2, 3, 4 iterations to get that resume to the place it needs to be for the kind of roles you are applying for. And you'll be amazed how resumes can be transformed. The same person, but different resume. And don't forget, your resume is the window that you have to get that interview call. Your resume is the non-verbal tool that you have to engage a verbal connection or a verbal engagement. So when your resume is out there, your resume is not speaking verbally, it's speaking non-verbally. The question is, what is your resume saying? Right? And with mentors here at MB Consult, we can help you get that resume from where it is to where it needs to be. Right? So don't take that for granted. LinkedIn profile enhancement. This is a very tricky one. Like I said, LinkedIn is a snapshot. LinkedIn should be an embodiment of your entire skill set. So what does that embodiment, what should it look like? You might be multi-skilled like I am. I can apply for a project management role. I can apply for a business analyst role. I can also apply for a test management role. So what should my LinkedIn look like? My LinkedIn needs to be able to portray me as a multidisciplinary IT specialist with expertise in those domain areas. My LinkedIn should be able to showcase that. So that's why my LinkedIn profile may not be poised enough, and I use the word poised enough, may not be fit for purpose to apply for any of those roles, be it QA, be it PM, or be it BA. My LinkedIn profile is not poised enough. But does it have the ingredients? Yes, it does. But is it fit for purpose? Most likely no. So if I want to apply for a PM role, I have a resume to apply for PM roles. If I want to apply for a business analyst role, I have resumes to apply for a business analyst role. And the same for QA role. It's the same me, but different flavors of my skill set. Because when the recruiter is shuffling through resumes for a BA role, and because you are that person that uses a one-cap-fits-all approach, and because you like project manager, you want to be a project manager, and you're using that your project manager resume to apply for a BA role. If I were the recruiter, the moment I see project manager, don't come and tell me, oh, a project manager should be able to do a BA role. Yes, I know. But as a recruiter, I'm not recruiting for a PM role. I'm just going to put your resume aside. I'm not even going to read the first line because your headline says you are a PM. I'm not looking for a PM. I'm looking for a BA. Enough said, right? Showcasing your skills. And I have a very good story here for you guys. Showcasing your skills on LinkedIn. A lot of you caught yourself, you shortchange yourself because your LinkedIn profile is not optimized. When I even ask people, do you receive jobs a lot from LinkedIn? Some say yes, some say no. How many do you receive? 1, 2? And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me right now? At the very least, I receive like 4 or 5 daily. And each of those, so when I mean job alert, I mean an email. And each of those email contains about 5 to 10 jobs. And I receive about 4 or 5 of those emails daily based on the job alert that I've set. Now, where am I going with that? I'm receiving those job alerts based on how my LinkedIn profile has been set up. Do you know that LinkedIn has an attribute called skills? It literally was 50 skills max for your LinkedIn profile, but LinkedIn recently increased it to 100. So in between all the roles that you have set up on your LinkedIn profile, you can say that you have these skills in those roles, and you can list 100 unique roles for your LinkedIn profile. I had somebody that came and he asked for my services. Very sound guy. He had a job and he said he wanted another one. This was during the pandemic. So it was commonplace for people to have multiple remote jobs. And I said, so what's the problem? He said he has been applying, he's not getting calls. And I said, really? He said, yes. And I said, but I know you are sound, you know what you are doing. And he said, yes, I have a job and I'm looking for another one. I said, interesting. I said, okay, you know what? Book my time, come to that call with your resume, that same resume you're using to apply for those jobs, and come with 4 of those jobs that you've applied for and you never heard anything back. And then the day we had to meet came. And I said, can you share your screen? Go to your LinkedIn profile and show me that job. Right? Let me see if I can share my screen so that we can make this a little bit practical. So you should see something else on my screen now. What are you seeing? Let me see. Are you seeing something else outside? So just give it a bit of time. Can you see my LinkedIn page now? Is that what you're seeing?
Yes.
Good, thank you. So let's go to LinkedIn jobs, right? So let's do this. Let's do business. So jobs. Let's do quality assurance. Okay, so hold on. I don't know whether you guys saw something that I saw. So let me do this. So let's do quality assurance. Now, are you seeing this? Alert on. So I have an alert for workday roles. I have an alert for system analyst. I have an alert for automation tester. You see, alert on. Those are my job alerts, right? So if there's any role that is workday related in Alberta, I'm getting an email. If there's a system analyst role in Edmonton, Alberta, I'm getting an email. If there's an automation test analyst role in all of Canada, I'm getting an email, right? Just to let you know. So this is not, I'm not saying what I don't do. So let this be all of Canada. Okay, Canada, search. So I'm searching for quality assurance roles. Oh my goodness. Okay, let's even just leave it at Ontario, okay? Whatever. So we do it this way, okay? So lead quality assurance. This is a role. Okay, why is it blanking me out? Okay, so let's go. I thought I saw. Okay, let's do this one. So this is a role, right? Now, look at this. 0 of 13 skills match. Can you see that? What does this mean? Can someone unmute and tell me? Anyone?
You don't have the skills that will give you an edge.
Absolutely correct. So if I'm trying to apply for a role like this, and let's do it the other way around. The recruiter that set up this job on LinkedIn, when the recruiter set it up, the recruiter is asking LinkedIn algorithm to filter out prospective applicants that have these 13 skills. And where are the 13 skills? They are down here. Where are they? Just give me a sec. Let's click on here. You should see the skills. These skills added by the job poster. These are the skills that person is asking for, the recruiter. Now, so what does this mean? It means that if we go through my LinkedIn profile right now, most likely these skills are not listed. Now, whose responsibility is that? Can I get an answer?
It's our responsibility.
My responsibility. This is my LinkedIn profile. Don't think I'm going to shy away from responsibility. This is my responsibility, right? And you are right. But I'm trying to tell you that if I was applying for this job and you were the recruiter, Stephanie, would you enlist me as a suitable candidate for that job?
No.
Very good. Now, does it really matter whether I know the job or not?
No.
No. Who cares? Nobody does. Now, when this guy came to me, and this is me, typical example. I'm into software test management. And I'm not, at this point, my LinkedIn profile is not adequately positioned for this role. Again, so if I want to be adequately considered for this role, then I better have those skills in my skills on my resume. Now, that was exactly what was happening to this guy. When he came to me, he was barely scoring 40% on all of the 4 jobs. And he now looked at me and said, Michael Boyo, he said, this is enlightening. I said, what do you mean? He said he never thought about it because he had skills in his profile, but those skills were skills that were relevant to when he started his career about 15 years ago. Most of those skills were not relevant anymore to the kind of job he's applying for today. So again, that's on you. We can take any other one. And maybe, so let's look at this one. Anything. Now, this is on you. It's your responsibility. Now, this one did not put any skills. The recruiter didn't put any skills. That's okay. Now, this is apply. This most likely will take you to the company's website. Continue. I don't want it to continue. And you see, it takes you to the company's website. This tells you that this job is at least available on City of Edmonton. And most likely, there will be an expiration date somewhere at the bottom that you need to apply for this job up to a certain date. So they said up to 1 temporary closing date. That's another key thing. A decent job should have a closing date. Again, I didn't pick this job. It doesn't matter. It must have a closing date. That means there's responsibility, there's accountability on the part of whoever posted this job. And please, when there's a salary range, don't go and start asking for something above that salary range because it's been clearly stated. Even if you have to, get the job offer letter first. And if it's a fully on-site job, don't go and tell them that somebody lost a job opportunity recently because the job was clearly stated it was going to be fully on-site and the person was trying to work their way into making it hybrid or remote. And the employer just said, you know what, you are not a right candidate for this job. So I think somebody raised up their hand. Please go ahead, because I'm not seeing the chat right now. Did somebody raise up their hand? Okay, let's keep going. I'm trying to get back to where the chat is. Is that making sense, guys?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to get to, okay. All right, I can see you guys now. John, you had your hand up. You could have started talking because I wasn't seeing the chat. Please go ahead. John, you're on mute.
Sorry, that was the deal. Sorry.
Okay, all right. So, so what are we saying? That the skills, the guy didn't have the skills. And, you know, we're on the call and it was like, oh, let me start changing. I said, no, you can't be doing that on my own time. That's not a good use of my time. I said, go and do that on your own time. And not too long ago from that, because this was somebody who was actually skilled. And I think he got a second job not too long after that. And the rest is history, right? So let's keep going here. And I need to start bringing this home. Okay, real world examples of success stories, okay? Now, I was supposed to bring one of my mentees here, but apparently she had something else and she couldn't come. Let me see if I, again, I don't like to as if you're arranging something. I'm trying to look at the chat here. Let me see folks on the call, right? So, but one of these days, I'll bring one of my mentees here and they can tell you how things have worked. There are just too many. And you can go on our website to see testimonies. There was a girl that she was literally doing a minimum wage job, customer service, which is what most people do when they first come into Canada. And, you know, I met her on a training platform. You know, she did, you know, the training and she put in the time, put in the work, and then, you know, got connected with me and we started working together, you know, did her resume, talked about what your career, you know, strategy is going to look like. And then we started applying for jobs and she was getting interview calls until at the end, long story short, she landed a job. And when she landed the job, she was blown away because it was just shy of a 6-figure job. And I said, you know, when she called me up, she was in tears. Like she couldn't believe that she was going from a minimum wage job to a job that was paying, I think at that time it was about 60 something, right? And I said, so what next? He said she's going to accept the offer and blah blah. And I said, well, why? He said, what's she supposed to do? I said, we ask for more, but there's ways of doing it. And these are strategies. These are things that if you get it wrong or you do it wrong, you could lose that job offer. But if you do it right, you get more. And we got more. And every time when I'm working with anyone, you tell me you have a job offer, we need to figure out how to get more. Because it's easier to get more before you get in than get more after you get in. If you come into our personalized mentorship and coaching program, these are things that, we talk about at length so that you understand the rudiments of how you can maximize that job offer. So even after you get a job offer, our mentors are still working with you. And I have stories upon stories. I worked with a lady who is in the US. She got a job offer. When she got 5-stage interview, the final stage was meeting with the hiring manager who was like 2-3 levels from her. And I said, so what's your strategy for this final stage? She said, oh, what strategy? Why should she have strategy? I said, why wouldn't you have strategy? Do you have a job offer later? She said, no. And I said, so who told you have a job? And I said, but why? This is the final stage. And I said, I'm asking you because you have not answered me. And I now said, we still need a strategy because you don't have a job offer. And I said, do this. And she did it. She went into that meeting. And when she was done with that meeting, the hiring manager told her, I've never seen someone do what you just did. And he said, I'm going to tell HR to add a bonus package. So that's a signing bonus package to her salary. She was so excited as she was driving out of that place. This was in Houston, Texas. She called me. Now, when she called me, I was on my way from work. I was doing hybrid at the time. And she told me what they were going to offer her. And I still said, do you have a job offer letter? She said, no, but the hiring manager said XYZ. And I said, so why didn't you ask for a job offer letter? She said that they said they would send it. I said, okay, that's a rookie mistake. There's no harm in asking. That's number one. Number two, what did they offer you? They offered her $120K US and 15% signing bonus. Think about that for a minute. Now, you are saying, wow. Now ask me, what did I say? I said, so what do we do next? And she said, what are we going to do next? That she's waiting for the offer letter. I said, no. We need to figure out how we're going to get more. $120K US. I was on my way home. I checked on Google, what is the going rate for that role? It started from 90K for junior, about 100 for intermediate. Senior was about 125, and advanced experts was like about 140. And I said, I think you are being shortchanged. You should be able to get at least about 125K for that job. Can we figure out a strategy to get more? And she said, Michael Boyo, no, don't let us do that too. And I said, okay. I said, if we get more by my strategy, we'll split the extra. And if we don't get more, I'll sign you a check for $5,000. She said, Michael Boyo, I'm afraid. I said, this is on my word. Long story cut short, she didn't go with it. She accepted the offer letter. And about 6 weeks into the job, by whatever means, she realized the budget for that role. The budget for that role was going from 120K US to 138K US. That was the budget for that role. And then she called me. It was at night at about 11 p.m. my time. And I said, what's wrong with you? Are you not sleeping? It was 1 hour ahead of me. And she now said, Michael Boyo, that I saw the salary range for my job. I said, which job? I said, the one I'm doing. How? I said, don't worry. And I said, so what's the salary range? 120 to 130. I should change myself. I said, so what do you want us to do right now? I just said, I should tell you, Neil. And I said, that's too late. There's nothing we can do about that right now. You have to wait for the next salary review cycle, and you can't get more than 3%. What's 3% of 120K? 4,000. That's the best you can get. So there are strategies. When you work with a seasoned mentor, at the bare minimum, she could have gotten at least an extra 5K. Right? So these are just, some of the things, real life examples, people working with me, and I have too many stories like that. Too many stories. Okay, I need to start in here. John, please go ahead.
Yeah, it's not an error this time. Okay, so I just want to add to that as well too, of someone close to me, just to portray what you're saying. I think Philip will know about this story. She actually got a job, and they offered. I mean, my own, the currency on my side is in euros, So she actually got a job, and it was going for 50K. As in, that was the offer. Now, because the person started another role somewhere recently and wasn't willing for that immediate change, we're like, okay, let us push further. I mean, we don't want to say no to this offer for future reference, And we're like, okay, tell them for some reason you won't be available this, but let's see what they can actually do. We ask for more. And to our surprise, from the organization that was offering 50,000 euros, they moved by 25,000 to 75. That for me was an eye opener. I'm like, is this actually possible? So just to purchase what you're saying, that it's not bad, to actually explore that option, because you never can tell what is actually available for that role. The fact that they gave you an offer, it shows that there's something they've seen in you that they are in need of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. No, thank you so much, John. Thank you. Okay. No, so I'm thinking I may have to draw this to a close, but I want to say this, that guys, the landscape right now is very, very harsh. I get it. Right? Unemployment rates are at an all-time high right now. But in the midst of that, are there still jobs? Legitimate, valid, and correctly represented? Yes, there are. One of the things that I may not be able to get to, because I'm going to wrap this up here and now, is the power of connections, networking, referrals. Most of the jobs I get, the interviews are mere formalities, because there is a strong referrer on the inside. And that's where, again, we need to continue to harness the power of a platform like LinkedIn. There's no harm cold calling people on LinkedIn. When you find out that somebody is working maybe in an organization you want to work in a role that is similar, you can cold call ahead of the time. And I'll give you an example. Anytime I'm applying for a job anywhere, I go and do my due diligence in that organization on LinkedIn. I look at everybody that works in that organization. Do I have a first or a second connection in that organization? That can literally be the differential between you and your competitor. Because the word referral here in the West is very, very key. The closest we have to it back at home is godfatherism, not referral. It's godfatherism. When one father somewhere will just say, let's get him in, he's one of my sons. But here, it is based on credibility. Somebody is vouching for you. And that person's word at that point in time means a lot. I know what they say. Anything can be learned. So whether you even have the skill set to a T at that point in time is not as critical as somebody vouching for you. Because the assumption again is that you have the skill set anyway. You shouldn't be applying for a job that you cannot do, right? So these are just a few of the things that with a mentor, with a coach, as we have them in MB Consult, we can hold you by the hand. We also have a personalized mentorship. and coaching program that you can sign up for. There are people here who are on that program, right? And they are the only ones that can tell us what they've learned from that program. And maybe I will end with that. Ofonime is here. Do you want to share with us, with people on this call, some of the things, just one or two things that has been, I would say, an aha moment for you as you are going through the mentorship and the coaching program, if you don't mind, because I didn't tell you ahead of time. So I don't want it to be like as if we staged it. Please unmute and speak.
Okay. I will say that I've learned a lot in terms of the clarity and what I should be targeting in terms of my job search. Also, searching about the keywords, wasn't something I used to do. I'm searching to be sure that the keywords are in the resume. And also, how fast you can optimize your resume to fit the purpose and the job description that you are applying. That's after establishing your baseline resume. Those are
So thank you very much, Ofonima. When you say your baseline resume, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, your baseline resume reflects, let's say, 100% of, let's say you're applying for a project management role or a project coordinator, and you have created a baseline resume that reflects 100% of what you need in that. So you use that to optimize, to align with the job description that you are applying for. Simply implying that you are removing what is not required and now inputting what specific things that are required for the job.
Thank you very much, Ofonime. And on that note, I would want to end this presentation. I still have some slides, but I want to be respectful of everybody's time. So I want to take maybe last comments, last questions before we go today. Anyone? I believe in the chat, somebody will have dropped in, all of our social media handles. First and foremost, if you are yet to join our online platform, that's the first thing. So please join. So that will be the very first link there that says, I think it just says MB Consult. So please join and hopefully we'll be able to connect with you. Okay. All right. Kabir. Please.
Yes. Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Good day,
Yeah.
Mr. Michael. Yeah, sorry, I joined a bit late, and anyways, I was able to take out some few things from the presentation. However, I don't know what is the process for having a one-on-one meeting with MBS Consulting. I'm very keen on having a one-on-one consultation. I don't know how the process works.
I'm glad you asked. So first and foremost, this on one of those links dropped in the chat. So you should be able to see my screen, but on the links dropped in the chat, let me just drop that very first one that says yet to join our community. I'm going to drop that one specifically right now.
Okay.
First thing you should do is join the community. That way, you will get minimal information about you.
Okay.
So if you click that tinyurl.com/mbconsult, that will take you to our online platform where we onboard and we collect minimal information so that we can connect with you and we can take it from there. Now, I'm able to accommodate a 15-minute discovery call with you just to kind of understand your basic needs. And then from there, I would most likely be able to determine which of the services for you to take on. So this was that personalized mentorship and coaching program that I talked about, which is there, right?
Okay.
This is a clarity session one, and
Okay.
interview prep in case you have an interview preparation. We also
Okay.
have on-demand videos. Now, what do I mean by on-demand videos? And I don't say this enough. So these are videos that have been massaged from my interview preparation with a bunch of my mentees for the last 2 years. And most of them have actually gone ahead post this interview prep to get the jobs. And
Okay.
again, when I don't know whether you were here when Stephanie had mentioned that my reputation precedes me. Again, I don't say that as of arrogance, but there are people that can literally speak for me, and maybe because I'm not a very loud person. There should also be testimonials on this website, right? Now, but what I'm saying that these videos are video interview prep videos where I'm now saying that they are available on demand on a subscription basis. So if you want to have access to them on a 3-month basis, 6 months, or 12 months, and these are interview preps for ranging from roles as maybe an administrator, a system administrator, a business analyst, a project management. We have about 3 dozen videos and still counting, where people have literally gone to regurgitate some of the things that I said. A number of times when I talk like this, people actually record what I say and they go and say that same thing in interviews, and they're like, Michael Boyo, it worked. And I'm like, really? And I'm like, well, and there's that story again of a lady that met with me last year, February, coming out of maternity leave. She met me on a training platform and she said, Michael Boyo, I have an interview coming up on Monday. She reached out to me on Thursday and I said, I was like, I don't have time. But so something just told me, do somebody a favor. You don't know who or what that person is going to become. Now, long story cut short, I don't do interview preps a day before the interview as a matter of philosophy, except for extenuating circumstances. So I replied to her on Friday, and I said, if I have to meet with you, that means we have to meet on Saturday. I'm not going to meet with you on Sunday. Your interview is Monday. And we met on Saturday. Philip is here, one of the mentors. He was on that call. And when we started asking questions as a matter of preparation, she was not answering me the way I wanted it because she was coming out of maternity leave. Came from Nigeria, came to Canada. She had her first job as an insurance claimer, and she got pregnant, had a baby, coming out of maternity leave, started to upskill, and that's where she met me. She heard me speak somewhere in a mentorship platform, and she was like, when I have an interview, I'm going to book Michael Boyo. She doesn't know me, I don't know her. So when she got that interview, she was telling her friend, this interview is not big enough to go and book a Michael Boyo, that you may not even answer me. But her friend said, why don't you just, what do you have to lose? And she booked me. We did that interview prep on Saturday. And at some point, halfway through that interview, I said, Philip, you know what? This is not a good use of my time. I said, what I would recommend is that I'm going to ask the questions. I'm going to answer the questions, and you can go watch the recording. So that's what we did. I said, because within the 1 hour time that we have, we're not going to achieve anything. I'm a go-getter. It's all about results. She went for that interview on Monday. She called me back on Monday evening. And I said, how did the interview go? She said, well, she did her best. And I said, what does that mean? She said she believes she answered the questions well. She called me on Friday of that week. I couldn't pick her call. I was in a meeting. And I said, what's up? She sent me a message saying that, Michael Boyo, I got the job. I said, which job? She said, the job I interviewed for on Monday. I said, really? Just like that? She said, yes. I said, how? She said, I literally regurgitated all the things you were saying, that on Sunday I was playing the recording in my house, and my husband was like, who are you listening to? He said, you don't know Michael Boyo. He said, who is Michael Boyo? He said, my mentor. And I said, really? That's what you were doing? He said, yes. That she didn't understand most of the things I was saying, but she sure was good enough to be able to regurgitate them. That most of the questions we had addressed in the course of the interview prep were the same questions that were asked in the interview. And she got the job. She's still in that job. It's with government of Alberta. Right? So that's just one of so many stories I can continue to tell you on this call. So, and those are the kind of videos that are going to be here. So at times I may not have time because of the time it is between when you connect with me and when the interview is going to happen. And so I'm now saying you can go in and subscribe to these videos. And if you just want to ask me a naughty question, I've had people that will specifically call me. I have a job offer. And my next question is, we need to get you more. right? So it can just be a 30-minute call. You're answering it, or you have something, or maybe even on the job. People have had to come to me and say, "Oh, my boss is doing X, Y, Z." I told somebody, I said, listen, what's your game plan, your exit strategy from this job? And she's like, what do I mean? I said, are you going to be there forever? She said, no. I said, okay. So how do you want to get more from this job? And we started talking, and there were strategies. And she didn't even realize that there was budget for her for career development until I had to mention it. I said, ask your boss. You don't have to pay for exams. Let them pay for it. Right? So you go on here. So like I said, join the community. You've reached out to me on LinkedIn, so I know I can connect with you. And then we can.
Yes, I've joined the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does that help?
Yeah, that does. We'll take it up
Thank you
on
very much. Okay then.
Right.
All right. That will be it for now. And I would encourage us all to please join our social media platforms. So be it starting with LinkedIn, we have a LinkedIn business page. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Facebook page, and we're also on TikTok and Instagram. So please, I encourage you, help us grow the community and make our community strong. Thank you very much, everyone. God bless you.